All right, here we are again, and might as well just get right into it. Somebody wanted to know what Eric was like at home, off the road, not with a band, everyday sort of life.
Yeah, I know.
But
According to him, I lived at Hurtwood Edge for a better part of a year. And it must have seemed like 15, to him. But
I don't know why
we were all camped out there. Carl and Jim and I, and even when I had got my own place in Churchley, I still and lived at Sunny Heights. I still had my room at Eric's house. So, and when I went over, we didn't play together right away. I mean, he had played with us with Delaney and Bonnie, but he and I just got to know each other. He told me to come over. I don't think he really expected that I would, but I showed up and he was entirely gracious. And he said the place was empty. It's just you and me and Mrs. Egby. They lived in a garage apartment, and she cooked. And Arthur, her husband, built a fire in the morning and did the garden. And he and his brother looked after the grounds. And I just got to kick around. He says, "You just do anything you want." That was really my first home when from leaving my family, back in Memphis and Millington.
So you're going back 50 years to when.
Yeah, and he was total gracious. He was my friend. I turned out I was his protege. Not knowing what that was, but I was Eric's protege, and everywhere he went, I went, He introduced me to some finer things in life, I wasn't long out of a cotton field when I got hooked up with Delaney and Bonnie and Eric, and 8-9 years, that's a pretty fair chunk of time when you're young, Goes boom, just like that. But so it was like he was my brother, and man, I had never had the availability of being able to buy a watch. He'd buy anything I wanted, but that wasn't what it was all about. He had 150 pounds a week, and I got 150 pounds a week from the office, and that was it, But if we needed something else.
The question was, what was Eric like?
Yeah, he
was just normal.
Just a regular guy, but I mean, he lived his life. He was a big rock star, but that's who he is. He wasn't some mundane kind of like meager or meek and quiet character, that was a different personality or persona than you see. No, he was Eric Clapton then, when he was little, that's who he was, because that was his aspirations, was to be in the position he's in right now. He rose to the occasion, all throughout his life, changed from one thing to another, and so my relationship with him was just part of one of the cogs in the wheel of life in Eric Clapton, and but a generous man by all means, and
Well, wouldn't you?
But I mean, one day we were having some videos done. I'm really the only one we ever really did, and he said, "I got to go to town," and he said, "I'll be back in a couple hours." And I thought, well,
You were doing a video?
Well, we had been back and forth, they used some of it in Life in 12 Bars.
So you were filming, actually filming.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, he's got to go to town. There's nobody there but me. And Mrs. Egby. And a couple hours later, I hear him roaring down the road, and then he came with a brand new Porsche.
Is that what you saw on?
That's the one that's on the thing.
in Life in 12 Bars.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and so I was looking at him coming in the drive, and I went, oh, that's just what he needs is another sports car, you know.
So that was.
And I went outside, and I said, man, that's all you need is another sports car. And he said, no, this one's yours. And he tossed the keys across the front of the car, and it's kind of like they hung in midair, you know.
Right. Well, okay. I have got to ask you this. So you're filming.
We had been filming. Carl and them had been doing. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. We weren't filming then. We were just there, you know.
But Carl was filming.
No, that came about 3 weeks later, when they came over.
Okay, well, it was close to the time. So
Yeah, very close to the time. But what I can say is the car you see in that thing is my car.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, that's the car.
So that was pretty new.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
That was
because
mine.
I've never heard that part. Now you can put the two together.
Yeah, we were filming right after all of that. You know, when Carl and Jim got there, it was.
So the time that you see the filming was about the time that Carl and Jim shows up.
Yeah, and you can see Mick Jagger in there. He's sitting. He's sitting out there. Everybody was real curious as to what we were doing.
And you nearly plowed down some kid in the car.
I nearly clipped a kid. I don't know whose kid that was.
I was going to ask you who's
But that was a real narrow, close window of time. You know, when I got there and we started writing and really getting to know each other. Right. You want to get to know somebody, live with them a while and write songs with them, and then put together a band and lived in that. He had, little did I know it, but he wanted to do this thing like the band, Big Pink, and they all lived out there at that house and recorded. That's really where he came up with getting everybody to live there. It was big enough. Lord, it was big enough for everybody. I guess he was planning on having all those kids.
Well, he said something about stealing Delaney and Bonnie's band. That actually did.
No, hell no. They ran like lemmings to the sea.
Okay.
Everybody fled except for me, and I couldn't get out of there soon enough myself.
That's not what I meant. What I meant was, there was no plan to actually put anything together at the time.
No. They were putting Mad Dogs and Englishmen together, and they were doing all that stuff.
Right.
Eric and I, it was a series of events along the way, steps along the way, like Stones asking me and all that stuff to play. But Eric and I hadn't really started playing. Jim and Carl wasn't there at that point.
Right.
I knew that we were putting a band together though. Yeah,
but you were writing together.
Yeah. And it was great. I mean, we became close friends. And then
you just do normal everyday things that.
Yeah, I mean, fries, eggs. He taught me how to iron a shirt. I'd never ironed a shirt. He showed me how to iron a shirt. So I mean, I iron my own clothes. And
yes, you do.
Like I said, I never had a home outside of my family life. Because when I left, I was, always somebody sharing an apartment with somebody doing something. I had a round bed at the plantation and, slept on Delaney's couch. I mean, so I never really had my own home.
Right.
I just lived on the road, on the go.
Well, let me ask you, after the dominoes folded, when that fell apart, were you suddenly being asked to play on a bunch of things?
Hell no.
What?
No, hell no. You'd have thought I didn't even exist. You'd have it wasn't that. That's a dream, But I got my other house in Ascot, and so I was just burning up the roads all in the night. I drove it at night because there's nobody on the roads, so I figured that's the best time. So when I was awake when they were asleep, and I was asleep when they was awake. That's how I operated, that was my...
Nobody asked you to play.
No. I was there too. See, there was a lot of jealousy went down.
you're
for
talking
me
about
being there. It's like musicians, I was, Keith Moon was the only one that didn't give a shit,
Right.
But everybody, and Eric was doing heroin. He got really off into that, and I started doing a bunch of blow. So, that's like having a horse and a donkey, trying to work with them. You can't do it, But Mooney, he was the only one who really didn't care about anything, about me coming over and putting the other guys that wanted the gig. Now, having said that, they were free to do it, just if they had the goods. They didn't have the goods to write Why Does Love Gotta Be So Sad, Tell the Truth, Any Day, Keep on Growing, Thorn Tree in the Garden, Bell Bottom Blues. They couldn't have done it. He couldn't have done that with those guys. The guys he has now. Chris Stanton's played piano for him for 50-something years, and that's all right.
I just remember him slapping the piano like he was a 5-year-old, and Eric got mad.
When we went to see him that time.
I don't know what in the world that was about.
I have a real simple playing. The way it's all feels. School players.
Totally passion.
They go.
Total passion.
Bing, clink, 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 clink. They don't go. And they go clink, 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 clink. Because they're playing these notes, and
trying to get the
all the
notes right.
fancy chords and shit. That ain't how it works. No, hell no.
No, it's total feel and complete and utter passion, and you become
one with the instrument.
Become one with the instrument.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that.
And so
And you definitely do.
Yeah, they didn't. There was a lot of.
I'm sure they hated
And it wasn't everybody was jealous of me, but there's a couple of those keyboard players,
Well,
and actually said something to me about coming over to stealing their gig. I said, I'm not working for it. We got a band together.
They used to say that.
That really stung.
They used to say that to me as well. Bloody Americans.
No, I said,
coming over here stealing our jobs.
yeah, well, I told him, I said, no, it ain't a job. I'm not working for him. We're equal partners. And boy, that really stung,
Ow.
Woo!
Well, what about Stevie Winwood? Somebody had asked.
What a good guy. And I've always wanted to do something with him.
Well, that's what they were asking.
Well, nothing ever happened except I would go to see. I saw him play, and I was "Give Me Some Lovin'" was one of my songs that I did.
Right.
And I looked up one night at the Albert Hall, and there he was on the other end, other side of the stage. Right. And the third verse is,
you can't figure it out.
You can't figure that one out. I don't care how hard you listen, so you just have to wing it. And I was spitting out some kind of garble, and there he was,
Yeah.
But, we said hello when you and I saw them in Houston. I think it was, wasn't it? Houston?
He couldn't find us.
No, when we went backstage down, they came and found us, and we went. That's when he was playing, and they were looking at trying to find out where we were sitting.
He was trying to find us, and we didn't get to see him backstage. So
we saw Eric.
Yeah.
And talked to him. Yeah. But he was eyeing you, honey.
I'm going to be editing that out. Anyway, now you made me lose my train of thought here. What was it? I have to stop.
Did you get run over by a train of thought?
Yes, I did. Hang on. Okay, I'm rolling. One of these days, I'm going to get you to do something. Play. Maybe we'll both do something.
Yeah, we can do that.
Because it's been a while. I got to say, we've been so busy since we got here.
The house looks fabulous.
And it's just getting busier and busier. And now I've started painting one room.
Yeah,
This
Coco's
is a big
doing
place.
incredible work.
It's a big place, so
yeah.
It's just going to take time. But. So that you painting, us working.
Yeah, speaking of my painting,
So I'm really sorry that we had.
Check out, if you haven't already, BobbyWhitlockArt.com. All these years we've been doing this, we never thought to mention it. You know.
Well, actually, no. Well, you mentioned it the last time. Yeah, we just don't mention a lot of stuff, like subscribing.
No.
Our channel, not our channel, our website, and also, of course, your BobbyWhitlock.com.
Yeah, but it just happens. Just so it turns out, that we probably should have done that a long time ago. But but here we are. You learn.
We've had to take the reins over because we lost our manager due to the George Harrison kerfuffle.
Yeah.
Little did we know, just because he didn't like a record, it was going to cause so much.
Well, don't ask me to say what I think if you don't want the truth. If you want me to get up there and tell some lie or some shit about something, that's not going to happen.
Let's not get started, okay?
Oh, well.
Please.
Well, anyway.
Anyway, so we lost our manager because of it.
Yeah, and publicist. So we had to take the reins in our own hands.
So here we are. We're,
Well, we did anyway, It seems like you get those kind of people in your life, you have to stay on top of them, unless you got a hit record and stuff.
Oh, you should also mention the Carini carpets in New York. That's where your stuff's being.
Oh yeah, Joseph Carini. Yeah, he's. We've got about, I don't know, I think there's 3 more carpets on the loom that are supposed to be back from Nepal here anytime soon. But he's doing this. We got to think we're going to be doing this for a long time. And he's making, Joseph Carini is like fine carpets and linens in New York. He's in several different locations. But right on Times Square. And he bought one of my paintings, and then he called me back and said, "Hey man, what do you think about this? How about, I turn your artwork into carpets and all this?" But all his clientele, like, they live in Dubai and places like that. They got that kind of money. But way cool. I guess he'd be doing other things other than carpets.
Well, he did. They did Black Patty.
Yeah, it's upstairs.
Some other ones. And
yeah.
What else? You've got.
Oh, he's got Sorrento and a couple. One of my little waterfall, and I mean he's some beautiful stuff. He really sees what I'm doing and what I'm about. He understands it, and he translates it right down to, oh man, like 12 different colors of blue, and he puts that all together, and then his man who does the loom and ties each knot by hand in Nepal. He does that. And so it takes like 6 months to sometimes a year to get something done. But
it's pretty
they're really moving on it.
It's a new wonderful thing for you. And
it's an incredible thing to have happen out of the blue,
Yeah.
And it turns out that I checked in this big art book I have, and I went back, and that they used to do this a long time ago. A weaver would get an artist to do his painting and put it on the wall behind him. So I mean, and then he financed the artist and all that stuff. That's not what Joseph does, but yeah, I'm glad you said something about that. That's Joe Carini. Yeah, Carini's fine linens, and he did some beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff.
Well, they can check it out online.
Yeah, you can check it out for sure online.
As well as your art site.
Yeah.
BobbyWhitlock.com. Also, another thing that we haven't mentioned, people keep thinking that you haven't written a book. You actually have written a book.
Yeah.
And
Bobby Whitlock, a rock and roll autobiography by Bobby Whitlock. the publisher did that.
But
I didn't know.
We didn't want to call it.
I had a cathartic experience, and it was like my I had all this knowledge from, you know, I remembered everything and everyone and every predicament and situation and all this from when I was little bitty, you know. And it eventually just, the vessel broke and I spilled out my guts for some 18 months, you know.
Yep.
And voice would tell me 3 or 4 in the
available.
morning, get up.
That's available on Amazon.
Yeah,
and you can also.
It was a #1 in a lot of different categories,
yeah.
you know.
Well, and you can also special order it through any bookstore, of course.
Yeah. And well, we was talking about a second one, but you know, it's like I can't plan something like that. That just happened, and it was an accident that I started writing. You know, it's like I was an accident. I started painting.
We had to get you off that thread.
Yeah.
Steve
Hoffman forum. I just thought I was answering questions and only about 8 people knew about it. I didn't realize the planet knew about it. It's kind of like our thing, you know. I had no earthly idea we had that many people watching us do what we do.
No,
you know?
because we don't even have 5,000 subscribers, but we had 1.8 million views.
Yeah. I guess that works, you know. I don't know.
Who knows?
But I'm glad that everybody's been enjoying our show, and I don't know. It's
fun. It's fun as long as you know, keep it fun, and it's nice to have these people out here that are all you guys out there asking questions.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Comments and everything. So we read all of them.
Yeah, we go through everything, and that's a lot. There's a lot, I gotta tell you. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
There's a lot, but there's not too many to get to. That's for sure.
No.
All right. Well, thank you, and thank you for mentioning everything.
Yeah. Thank you for asking the questions.
You're welcome.
She's a cry baby, he's a groupie. No, she's a cry, but no, he's a cry baby, she's a groupie.